Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the duo group Ironman. In the last video, I focused on collection log stuff, with the bulk of the time being taken up by going for the Brimhaven Agility Arena collection log, and I got all this stuff unlocked after like 16 hours there. Instead of spending my AFK time doing like random unnecessary fishing and cooking, I decided to go to Castle Wars for the first time on this account, so I had 0 tickets to start with, and now I'm all the way up to 42 tickets, and I plan to continue doing this when I need to AFK, or pretty much whenever I'm going to be away from the computer for more than 20 minutes. Which isn't often. A couple of videos ago, I got a master clue with a step that I couldn't do, and I didn't drop it because it was a collection log item, and the item is the Amulet of the Danged. If we ever had a third teammate, their username would probably be like, I don't know, darn trio or something, dang trio, I don't know. There's many layers to that because, you know, like the Pokemon Doug trio, so that's where the Pokemon part comes from, and then there's like the fake curse word part, like darn, and then trio because we would be a trio team, so that'd be like a perfect name for a teammate. Anyways, so what I want to do this video is go for the Shades of Mort'ton collection log. I've not been there at all on this account, I think. Well, I know I have, okay, maybe I went there for like the music track. I think I have a couple of the keys. Okay, so I went there for something. My duo teammate Spookdog doesn't really care about the collection log, but she's a big fan of Fashionscape, and Shades of Mort'ton was on her checklist of things to do for her Fashionscape sort of completionist stuff. So we're going to be doing this collection log together. Of course, if you're just going for the Amulet, it doesn't really take that long to do, but because I want to get this done eventually anyways, I think this is the perfect excuse to go for this collection log. It's a sort of complicated minigame, especially if you've never done it before, so I'll try to just break it down step by step. First things first though, I'm going to want lower tiers of logs to get the lower tiers of locks. So while Spookdog is getting ready, I'm just going to start chopping oaks here. Here's the amounts of logs that I have right now. We don't really need too many, especially of the lower tier ones. It's really going to come down to redwoods being the bulk of what we're going to use for this. And I, of course, have plenty of redwood logs. I'm going to take 500 redwoods and put them in the group storage, or I think I put some in there before, but I'll put 500 more redwood logs in there, and hopefully that should be enough for her. I mean, I could always just put more in. We should hop to world 377. That's the Mort'ton world.
Okay.
Oh, I got Authenticator, of course. I want to do each step in bulk so I don't have to come back to it, and I'm not sure how much olive oil I'm going to need. Maybe I'll buy like 500. Yeah, I'll make 500 olive oil into sacred oil, and I feel like I'm going to need more. Oh, we'll start with this. Now we're gonna come up here, start killing shades, and then this interface will pop up. We want to get the sanctity up high because when you use the olive oil on the thing here, that's what turns it into the sacred oil, but it drains your sanctity each time you do that. And when you're doing this, don't forget your salve because they do count as undead. Hey, where's my blessing? If the altar is not lit already, I'm gonna light it and then use the olive oil. So you see I have 66% sanctity. Once I use it on there, it drains it by 3.6%. And then, yeah, I just keep doing this till I get full inventory and then bank and repeat. And if I'm gonna be making 500 of these, then it's probably gonna take a long time. There's a certain threshold you have to get your sanctity above in order to make the sacred oil. And once it goes below that, you have to get it above that threshold again. Is it 10% maybe? Yeah, it's 10%. It might be faster to repair the temple walls, although you might want the flam tier bag, which you get from doing the minigame. That might help because it'll store the materials in there.
What happens when you like leave this area or teleport out?
I don't know.
I assume it just like decreases the normal amount, like the same amount that it would just staying in here.
Yeah, maybe. Or if you log off, I don't know if it just drains it all the way to 0 next time you log in, or if it, or what. It's really weird. It's such an old mini game. There's so many weird little quirks about it. I just timed a trip. It looks like it took about 10 minutes, which means I could do 6 trips per hour. I do 25 sacred oil per trip, which means that is 150 I can do per hour. All right, it's been a few hours, and at this point, we've both finally ended up collecting about 500 sacred oil each. So here's my last inventory, hopefully, although I have a feeling like I'm going to have to end up coming back there for more, but for now at least, we'll see how long this lasts us. During the last few trips, I was collecting some of these loar remains, and these will help us get the bronze locks. I will try my best to explain how this works. So there's different tiers of the shades. There's loar, Fringe, and so on, as you could see. And the shades have a 100% guaranteed chance of dropping the remains. For each tier of remains, if you click on them, you could see what you can possibly get from them if you decide to do a pirate ship. Or wait, no, that's barbarian. The pirate thing with them. So you can see the first tier, the loar remains, you can get bronze keys from those. The second tier of shade is Fringe shade, and from these, you get mostly steel, but there is a slight chance to get bronze. And it kind of works the same way. Each shade will give you like a high chance to get one kind of key and then a lower chance to get another kind of key. But to get the keys, it's not just the shade remains you need, you also need pyre logs. They're the same as like any other logs you get throughout the game, except you have to use sacred oil on them. There's a different amount of doses you have to use for each type, anywhere from 2 to 4. But in order to use higher tier shade remains, you have to use higher tiers of logs. So with regular logs or oak logs, you can only do loar or frin. If you want to do the ryle, which is the third tier, you have to have a higher tier of logs and so on. So while I could use redwood logs for this first tier of shade remains, that would just be a waste because I'd have to use 4 doses of sacred oil when I could instead just be using 2. So it's gonna be 2 doses each for the oak logs, and I'll just start out by doing inventories of 12. You can go to any of the funeral pyres, they're all over Mort'ton, and we're gonna use the logs on here, the loar remains, light it on fire. We're gonna get prayer XP and fire making XP, and then shortly on, and then a key or something else can spawn to you. Like you can get coins as well, but we're hoping for the keys. I could go back and forth a few times to the bank here and then collect a full inventory of the bronze keys before I open them all and do like a full inventory at a time. But in the off chance I get lucky and I end up getting it in my first batch of keys, then I don't want to have had wasted all the sacred oil that I used on those logs. So after each trip of however many I end up getting, 8 in this case, I'll come here and open up the chests. Now the drop rate of the bronze locks is 1 out of about 60-ish. It's slightly more common if you're wearing a Ring of Wealth, so I got my Ring of Wealth on. I don't think it has to be charged, probably not, but even if it does have to be charged, I'm not really missing out on that much of an increased drop rate. And then you just open up the chest if you have the corresponding key to what the chest color is. A huge life pro tip for this place is that you don't have to collect the keys after every single one. You can stack up a few of them, although I wouldn't wait too long because you don't want them to despawn. It's probably 2 minutes, but I'm not going to take my chances. I'll just collect them every few that I do. In this room lives the Fringe shades, and that's the next tier. And that's how it is for like each of the areas. Each of the areas has the next tier of shade to unlock the next room. So each trip I do here, I'll just grab an inventory of the Fringe remains. And that way, when I'm done with bronze, I'll be able to move straight on to the next tier. Oh my god, I come back up from, I was starting the rice for dinner, and I come back up and great. Beginner's luck, man, let me tell ya. I got them, yes! It was 12 plus 11 plus 16. That is 39 of them for 1 out of 60. I was trying to get lucky on the later ones, not get lucky on the early ones, but that's fine. You may be wondering, what the heck, Houndor, are these locks actually for? Well, we're gonna leave the catacombs here and talk to Dampe. Do we just right-click locks? He'll give us a coffin, and we'll right-click him, locks. We have the bronze locks, and now we have the bronze coffin, which you can wear as well. And these coffins allow you to store shade remains in them. The bronze one only stores 3, so it's not really that useful. It becomes especially useful though when you get to the final tier and you want to collect as many Urim remains as possible. Hey, that's the Flam tier bag, new collection log slot, right after Spook got hers too. Bring me back to UIM limestone construction. Shudders. If you don't have the right key though, you can't get back into this room. So I could see there being some kind of scam where someone tells you to drop an item, open the chest, and then leave the room. So if you ever see that happening, don't fall for it because you're gonna lose. Fine cloth, that is the first piece, which is another log slot. Yes, the silver locks. Woo! Wait, I said silver. I meant steel. I'm adding up the steel keys here. The shades, so this is like -2 because the shades kind of glitched it. So it took me 37 steel keys, and all the locks are going to be about 1 out of 60. I'll take these leftover Fringe remains, the tier 2 ones. I'll put them in the group storage for Spook, so that'll save for a little bit of time. Upgrading the coffin to steel, and this one holds 8 shade remains. Uh-oh, Spook Dog's 1 ahead of me now. She's just got the black locks. Yes, the black locks. Oh, yes. It's 19 plus 4 plus 1 plus 20 plus 20 comes out to 64. So that was about the drop rate. It felt like it took so long though. Now that I'm moving on to the fire remains, they drop silver and gold keys. So there's a chance you might see me get some of the gold chest items before I get some of the silver chest items. Hey, the Amulet, yeah, new collection log slot, and that's the thing that I needed for the clue step. It's about 1 in 15 from the silver chests, and about 1 in 24 from the gold chests, so you're pretty much guaranteed to get it multiple times by the time you're done getting the collection log done. As I'm about to make my way over to open the first gold chests, I just want to show you the drop rate from the gold keys. So there's the Zealots outfit. Each piece is 1 out of 128. You always get them in this specific order, so you're not going to get dupes before you get the full outfit done, thankfully. Locks, again, are about 1 out of 60. And then there's the scrolls for the split bark to make swamp bark and blood bark. It's 1 out of 52 to hit the table, and then you either get the swamp or the blood. You see these fire braziers that are just scattered throughout the whole Shade catacombs. Well, if you look closely at them, if you really zoom in, you'll notice the little flames coming out of them. They're the different rune types. I find that so cool. These little intricate details are just amazing. I mean, this fire is basically the same thing as the login screen. You've probably noticed this before, that the flames coming out of this fire make the different rune types. And if you didn't know that, well, now you do. Okay, the first gold keys, another amulet, woo! I have all these extra keys for the lower tier rooms, which I'm just never going to use, so I'm going to drop all these. You do, however, always want to have at least 1 gold key in the bank, just so you can access the whole of the Shade catacombs if you need to. Yes, the silver logs, sweet. Alright, we're on to gold. It is good though to have a stack of fire remains in the bank because there's a master clue step that requires you to cremate them. So I'll do one more inventory of these guys just to have the remains in the bank. And I believe this was 46 keys for silver. The urine remains can only give the gold keys or GP. They don't give any silver keys though. It's probably going to take a while to get all the stuff unlocked from this room, so I'm just going to get like full inventories of gold keys when I come here. I'll just do a bunch of cremating in bulk. Oh, look at all these keys. It's going to be so satisfying. And then after I use them up, I'll fill up the coffin and inventory with more remains. This is actually pretty good GP. I didn't get any of the good uniques, but all the stuff I alked ended up being 300k. And you can get elite clues from the gold chests too. Yes, the first piece of the Zealots outfit, we got the boots. Ooh, nice. On the last key, we got it's the swamp bark scroll. So we'll read that, and now I can make swamp bark. And I don't think we need this journal. Yeah, if you ever want to read this book, you can just claim it back from your POH bookcase, but it doesn't do anything. No way, the first key when I got back into here, the Zealot's helm, sweet, 2 out of 4. Yes, we got the blood bark thing now. Again, we'll open this up, read the rune scroll, and then just drop the book. Oh, I got another one. Yeah, okay, so if you get dupes of these, then you can't do anything with it. I don't think they're tradable either, so... Oh, wait, they are. Oh, I could give that to Spook then. I mean, she'll probably get it anyways, but... Yes, got the gold locks. Sweet, so all that's left is just the last 2 pieces of the Zealot's outfit with this final tier of coffin, the gold coffin. This can hold 28 Shade remains. Another gold locks. You know what my favorite part about locks is, though? Is when it's put onto a bagel with cream cheese and lettuce and onion and tomato and cucumber. Oh, that's, yo, piece number 3 could be done any key. And that rhymed. Well, I am all out of sacred oil. This is the last of my keys. So if I don't get it on this key, then I'm gonna have to go back and do the Shades of Mort'ton temple building minigame and get more sacred oil. So here we go. No. Okay. I guess 500 ended up not being enough. Fun fact, besides for chopping redwood trees, this is the only other way in the game to get redwood logs. So if you want to fill up your Guardians of the Rift lantern with them, and you don't have the woodcutting level, then you're going to have to come here. Or train woodcutting is probably a much smarter way to do it. Yeah, once you get the flam tier bag, you should probably do the wall reinforcing instead. This is probably a bit faster and more AFK. That's it. That's it. Yes, the collection log is done. Holy frick, dude. Okay, so all the things here that start with gold key, I added all those up, and it is 340 chests. And considering the Zealot's outfit is 1 out of 128, and you just go like in order 1 piece at a time, I suppose it's pretty lucky. It should have been like 512. And just for confirmation, you can see Shades of Mort'ton is all done. 14 new collection log slots and another green thing on here. It's a shame these keys aren't tradable, so I can't just give them to Spook to help her out. I guess I'll just finish up using some of these, and I just want to at least have one in the bank. What I can do though is put my leftover Urium remains and Sacred Oil into the group storage. Here's the Zealots outfit, and what it actually does besides look very cool is it gives you a 5% chance of not using up bones or ensouled heads when you're training prayer. The effect does not work though if you're offering bones at the Ectofuntus, if you're using bones with the Sinister Offering spell, or if you're using bones on the Sacred Bone Altar in Forthos. It does work with the Chaos Altar and the Wildy though, so something to keep in mind. If you're sure you're going to be able to keep your Protect item on, because you wouldn't want to lose one of these pieces in Deep Wildy. And the stats of the outfit is plus 15 prayer bonus, and it does not count as Sarah items in God Wars. Now I want to craft 2 split bark armor sets, one to make into blood bark and one to make into swamp bark. I have some random pieces that I got from like PVM or Implings. I'll take out the gauntlet so I won't have to worry about those at least. And the rest of it, we're gonna need fine cloth. And how much fine cloth did I get from this grind? 82. When I was AFKing vampires for Slayer, I ended up saving some of the bark I got as drops. More of just a meme. I hadn't even considered the fact that you actually use it for something in the game. But you do need this to make split bark, so I won't have to go and spend a minute chopping trees. And if you never knew how to craft split bark, well, now you know. Split bark came out in 2004, and you know, there was a point in time, I think, when this was best in slot. Imagine seeing this Chad in the Wildy in 2004. I'm gonna make the swamp bark armor first. You need 1450 nature runes, and same thing for the blood bark, you need 1450 blood runes for that one. So we're gonna use the warding skill to create these, or I mean rune crafting, yeah. You get a little bit of runecraft XP for doing this. And what this armor set does is it increases the duration of your binding spells, like bind, snare, and entangle by 5 game ticks. And then for making the blood bark armor set, we just use the split bark pieces on the blood altar. And then is this the same stats? Oh no, it's a little bit different. Each piece of blood bark armor you have equipped increases the amount that blood spells heal you by 1.5%. So when you have the full set of blood bark equipped, then blood spells will heal you by a total of 32.5% of the damage that you do. Or if you have the Ancient Scepter on, that stacks as well up to 35.75%. I think Spookdog calls these armor sets different names though. Like I think she calls this one Swamp, and I think she calls this one Blood. I don't know if I'll actually ever end up using these sets, although with Desert Treasure 2 or maybe some updates in the future, they'll make these sets a little bit more useful in some way, but for now they will simply be Fashionscape gear. Can you buy a second Silverlight or Darklight, or can you have 2 Arclights at once? It looks like I can at least buy it back for 1k GP. Now let's see, can I have another Arclight? Cool, okay, I can have 2. I'll just keep this one in the stash unit. We'll build that. And now let's continue on with the master clue. Even if I can't get it done, that's okay, because I will now have this step unlocked permanently for the future. I just got the Bryophyta clue step, and for a split second I was like, no, but then I realized that we do have the Bryophyta staff. I'm not going to build the stash unit for that though, because it's one of these things that we kind of trade back and forth for the clue step. Okay, let's see, we are 7 steps in, and we got the master clue casket. Here we go. Whoa, Dragon Defender ornament kit. Yo. Wait a second. I don't have a Dragon Defender. I'll get one someday, just to attach that to it. But you can't store this in the POH, even with a Dragon Defender attached. You cannot store it in the POH, so doesn't really matter either way in terms of bank space. But I'm always happy to get more of the difficult collection log slots filled out. Wow, a bucket number 5 in 155. Throughout doing Shades of Mort'ton, I gained XP in a few different skills, and we'll take a look at the XP I gained in each. So for the combat XP, we'll just look at the hit points. It was 200k hit points XP. For firemaking, it was 448k firemaking XP. And then the last one I want to check is prayer. It was 112k prayer XP. I wish I had kept track of time when I was doing Shades of Mort'ton, because I don't know exactly how long it took for all that, but If I had to guess, I'd say maybe 15 to 20 hours. Yeah, I just went back to check the first clip of the video, and this video has been 29 hours of progress so far. So yeah, probably 20 hours sounds about right. 'Cause, I also spent time doing Castle Wars in this video. That was really the other main thing I ended up working on. I showed at the start, I think I started with 42 Castle Wars tickets, and now I am at 96. Might just end up going back to raids in the next video, but we'll see how I'm feeling. We'll see what happens. With that said though, make sure to check out my duo teammate SpookDog's channel, linked below in every video description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you again next time. I've been getting comments about how you guys like the IRL bits thrown in, so I wanted to share this concert we just went to the other night. I've really been into this band called Origami Angel lately, and I got SpookDog into them too. And when I saw they were going to be playing in town, I was so excited to go see them. They were touring with a couple other bands too, called Sweet Pill and Pink Shift, who were also rad. And I recorded a couple clips. Obviously, I didn't spend the whole time recording, but I just wanted a couple clips just to have for memories. And I figured I would share them with you. So here is Origami Angel. And after that, we got one of my favorite kinds of food, Ethiopian food. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, and be nice to each other.